They gonna like this?
Hey YouTube, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. I am filming a video today about how I prepare for international or domestic travel utilizing my fountain pens. I don't see a lot of videos on this particular subject, but today we're going to deep dive in and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be taking on an upcoming trip that I'm going to be taking to Europe and what I'm going to carry with me for this trip in taking my fountain pens. So let's get into it. The very first thing that I want to do is talk about the ink and how I'm going to carry some spare ink. And my hand, by the time you see this video, will hopefully be out of this brace. I'm fine, all is well. I had slight hand surgery, but I'm on the mend. I'm taking with me a Peniter inkwell. It's a traveling inkwell. It's very tightly sealed. And what happens is when you're trying to fill your ink, I'll get to in just a second. I'm carrying with me Calafilio Pain Degree. I really have fallen in love with this color. I started using it late in 2022, towards the end of the year. I have mentioned it on previous videos. And I just got a couple of samples in from Van Ness Pens, and I filled one of those vials of 4 milliliters. Very generous, nice sample size, and a little leftover that I had from a previous one into this inkwell, and I just put a label on it so I know exactly what ink it is when I decide to refill it. Now I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks, and I'm hoping to, I've got to do some work with that on my side hustle, but I'm hoping to also get a lot of cafe time in, and time in just kind of where I can sit and reflect in a way that I really haven't had time out in the last year or so, to really pause and, you know, just journal, quite frankly, and write about anything and everything and just have the freedom to brain dump. So this ink is coming with me. Additionally, I think I've done a previous review of this one too. This case is by Galen Leathers. It is a 6 fountain pen holder. And in it, I am bringing with me, I think, except for maybe one pen that's not included or shown, is included in here, the following pens. And the reason why I'm bringing them is I'm not exactly sure how much ink color I want, but they're all falling roughly within what I would call winter shade colors. And I kind of saw these colors pop up on Goulet's website right now in the US. And if you're ever curious about what they are, go to the Goulet pen site, and they kind of have some of the colors that I have reflected in it. First off, the non-fountain pen is the Sharpie roller pen. I love using these in my Hobonichi books, but they're also solid permanent ink markers too. So this one is in a 0.5. It has a fairly fine nib on it. Let me see if I can get this to focus in on it. There you go, very fine nib on it. So I can use this for entry documents coming back in the US, etc., etc. I have one spare Pilot cartridge just in case the Piera, which is right here, runs out of ink and I want to use a cartridge, or if I don't, fill it up with the Peniter inkwell. So let's talk about how this inkwell works just while we're on this. This one is a nice snap cap pen. It takes a Con 40 converter with Pilot, and as anybody who owns a Pilot knows, this is a ridiculous small converter. So hence the need to carry extra ink, and I've been using right now, this has Colorverse A&D ink in it, and it's just a nice blue-gray, palish blue-gray ink. I'll show you the ink sample on it just in case. But if I feel like I need to really write with this anymore, I've got the converter, or what I could do is use this Peniter ink converter. And what you do is, actually this is not the best pen. This is not the best pen, so I'm not going to show it to you on this. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at that converter and it's just not really fountain pen friendly. So the Pilot Piera has this Colorverse A&D. The Pilot 74 has Pilot Irizuku Fuyu Saigon ink, which I don't have any spare ink that I'm bringing with it. The TWSBI has the Calafio Pain Degree, and I'm sorry for the lighting because I've got sunlight coming through. and my Coeco, which is telling you what some of these are already. The original 60 nib has in it the Robert Oster Violet Dreams in it. So that's the inks that I'm using, and I'll show you the pens in just a second. Because of the way that this is, I just don't want to finagle with potentially messing up the ink in this pen, because it's just, this is one that I would probably just go ahead and stick the converter on it if I wanted to write with said ink. I'll probably top this off before I leave. Right now it's the Friday before the Monday that I leave out, and so yeah, let's just move on from that with this one. So that will be the Pilot Piera. That's going to go in here. My Sharp, which is just a rollerball gel ink pen, and then it's got such much space in it that I'm just sticking the spare cartridge in for the Pilot. The Pilot Custom 74, I think I'm going to take this because it's a nice full-size nib, and I really do like how the nib feels. I'm usually pretty weary of taking my 14 karat gold nib pins out with me, just because if something happens to these two, I can replace them quite easily. My other ones, I can still replace them, but I hate losing 14 karat gold nibs, so I'm praying nothing happens to this while I'm traveling. This one, like I said, has in it, and just look at my notes, this has the Pilot Irizuku Fuyu Shogun gray ink in it, and that one I'll probably, like I said, mostly fill up before I leave. If I don't stick in, I'm thinking about taking my Coeco Elite Sport in a mellow blue and with me as well. The other pen that I have is the Sailor Le Cool. This is not an expensive pen, even though it's a Sailor. I'm not overly in love with how it writes. I've been using this brass sheet tine to get it to write wetter. Hopefully that will have done the trick. But the reason why I'm taking this pen is it does take proprietary Sailor cartridges, and I'm actually haven't punctured this cartridge, so I don't have to worry about anything happening with exploding ink in the air with altitude changes. So the best way, what I would say for anybody traveling, is if you can find a combination of pens that have vacuum fillers in it, eyedroppers that have like Opus 88s that have the ability to shut down that piston fill system, better pens to take than your typical piston filling system, which those do tend to burp when you change altitude. And then here I have my replacement TWSBI Mini Vac pen. I've got this one filled up with the Califurio Paint Degree ink, and now this I can show you how this fits on, because this is a better sample showing, better way to show you the example of how to use this filler. So what you do with this is you take off this top cap, and you just twist this off. Sorry, my hands is a little bit more challenging with this. You stick the end of the pen in on this, and this will fit very firmly down into your pen, and you've got to trust the process. Then you flip this, and then you can undo your plunger and then plunge it. This is a vacuum fill pen, so it's a lot easier to do it with vacuum fillers. Plunge it and then get a really good drip fill, a good fill on the fountain pen. Sorry, I'm tongue twisted today. Pop this off, and I gotta hold on to this really tightly. And you will basically get just a little bit of ink right here, but it won't really fall down here into the grip section. Let me just make sure I've got this wiped off. So very little ink kind of comes off, just basically on the nib unit itself. Plop this back down, and you're good to go. So that's the joy of the Peniter Inkwell. I highly suggest that you guys get these. They're sold at a lot of the fountain pen companies. Goulet, I think, sells them. Gold Spot, Pen Chalet. You know, basically a lot of the people that are commonly known in the reseller community have them. And then lastly, I have this Coeco Original 60. I have switched out the nib from another Coeco pen and put down a medium nib into this pen. And I absolutely love the ink color that I picked. And that ink color and the ink sample is, like I said, this is the Robert Oster Violet Gray. The LaCool will have in it Sailor Shikiori Sakura ink, which is like the cherry blossom pink color. So it's a very pale gray ink. This one's black, and the other ones are grays or blue-gray inks. So that's my color palette for the trip. This is what I'm carrying for the trip. And then from a journaling perspective, I was going to use my Midori Traveler's notebooks, but anytime you put leather around a notebook, it makes it really bulky. I've also got to probably take some notes, but what I've done is I've taken a spare Hobonichi notebook, and I'm going to use this as my ink swatching book. If I go into any stationery stores in London and Paris, write down those. I will also, as I unpop these, pop the cartridges in on these inks that are cartridge ready, I'll put those down as well. And then I'm just using a B6 Slim insert from Midori that I've inked here, and I've started putting in my travel pages. And then I've got in here my travel calendar. I put down what the weather was. These are Midori sticker calendar sheets that you can get, and I've got the weather marked down for the extent of the legs that I'm taking on this trip, so I kind of know weather-wise how to pack my clothes. And then I've got some notes here on like things to do, places to go and see, my packing list, and then I'll use the rest for my journaling. Much lighter than carrying around a traveler's notebook than the leather one. So that's pretty much what I have. I might try to change the paper out. I've got a couple of stationery stores that I have in mind that I want to go to, so stay tuned. You'll see the follow-up videos once I get back, but I'm hoping to find some really cool kind of papers over in Europe that I can decorate this insert. This is the B6 Slim cover from Midori, just the plastic one. So that is it. That's what I've got going on. If you have any questions, feel free to leave the comments below. Thank you very much for stopping by and checking out my channel. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. It really does help me out. I am trying to get my channel up to 1,000 subscribers this year, so hopefully I can hit that goal. All right, guys, until next time, take care. Bye.
They feel good, yeah. I'm a Super Saiyan, baby, like my name was Goku. Feeling too good, real good, yeah, I'm so true. Remember bad days used to have, yeah, I felt blue. Now I'm up high in the sky like, ooh, ooh. Mama said if I want it, I need to have a plan. Get up that corner, see the world, boy, you the man. And if I show you the steps, I think